What's up everybody and welcome to another edition of AGR's Pop Culture Reviews. Just as a update, I'm going to be doing a lot of DC collectibles in the next couple of reviews, mostly because I found them and I needed to review them. And I'm also going to be doing a lot more of the Rebirth series, which we just did the Superman statue from Kotobukiya, and now we're going to do a Batman statue, which is pretty cool. So just for a little backstory for those who don't know what the Rebirth was, essentially it was a relaunching in 2016, and it kind of followed, at least had a launching off point from the New 52 initiative. Now this makes it pretty interesting because it does incorporate a lot of elements of the storyline, especially from the Flashpoint, and kind of resets things just a little bit, which is actually pretty cool. Though it still maintains some of the continuity. I know it's a little bit confusing, but it is actually an interesting thing that they did. Either way, I thought it was a pretty cool relaunch and a nice little new origin reimagining, so to speak. So today we're going to be reviewing the Icon Heroes Batman Rebirth statue. Let's take a closer look. Now, if you've been reading comics for a while, you know that the comic industry does this periodically. They do relaunchings, reimaginings, and reworkings of the origin stories, and for the most part they're pretty well received, sometimes. Now, love it or hate it, Rebirth is an interesting storyline, and what I like the most about it is definitely the reimaginings of the costumes. They look pretty cool. Now, when I took this out of the packaging, I have to admit I was pretty impressed in how big it was. I don't know, for some reason it made it look a lot smaller when I saw it on the original concepts. But I do have to admit it is a little bit of a boring statue. It's not really dynamic or anything like that. The head sculpt is great, though I think they had a little bit of QC quality control problems here, because if you'll notice, the eye, or at least the left eye on the statue, is a little bit cockeyed. Now, I don't know if that's intentional or if that was just a mistake, but it looks a little bit weird. Now, easily one of the most impressive things about this piece is definitely the upper torso. A lot of detail here, but most importantly, I love the textures. Just look at that sculpt, guys. I mean, anatomically, it looks amazing. I especially love the gloves and even that kind of faux leather look that he has to the actual suit. Looks great. The bat symbol looks fantastic. I especially like that outer border, that yellow line. That really makes the bat symbol pop. Looks fantastic. The utility belt also looks great, especially the shading. They did an excellent job here. The other thing I have to note about this statue is how completely neat it looks. In other words, it is very, very well done in terms of the overall paint jobs and whatnot, with the exception of the eye. The legs here are also fantastic, though I am a little disappointed that they didn't do enough in the shading in order to emphasize the quad muscles, but overall it's still really well done. However, and this is kind of a big deal, one of the problems that this statue has is definitely in its proportions. The feet look abnormally huge as compared to the rest of the statue. It looks really weird from a perspective standpoint. And that's a real shame because it looks bizarre. But what kind of saves it, and it's something that I think is pretty important, are the little details. The knee pads here look awesome. They're actually in the shape of kind of like little bat symbols, and I think that maybe offset that weird looking perspective from the feet. I think they could have done a better job here. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but it is jarring once you notice it. Now, the base is pretty simple, and listen, I never complain about simplicity, especially in some of these statues. It actually works in their favor. It's black, it's slightly raised, and has a very small footprint relative to the statue, but again, this is part of the problem. Because it's so small and because of the aspect ratio of those feet, it makes it look really weird. It kind of throws off the statue, and it looks like it's actually leaning backwards a little bit. Now, very similar to other Icon Hero statues, this piece does come with a certificate of authenticity. It does read Batman and has a nice symbol in the middle of it. It also reads Batman Rebirth Collectible Statue, and it has this ugly GameStop certificate only thing on it, which is a real shame because it's very tacky looking. No offense to GameStop, it just doesn't look really well here. And they are numbered pieces, and Lord knows there's a number of them. There's like 2100. I have 1588. So here's the deal, guys. I'm a little bit mixed with this statue. I can't put it over as the Holy Grail piece, mostly because there are so many of them that it's not really scarce in any way. But I do recommend it because of the price point. I think it retails for about 40 bucks, which is fantastic. This is a great statue in that respect. Though it does have a little bit of quality control issues, and those feet look freaking horrible. You can really notice it from here in this perspective right now. It looks like Batman has a really bad case of edema in the legs and the ankles. So if that doesn't bother you too much, overall I do say it's a good statue and you should pick it up. Now, before I go, I just want to thank the folks over at my comic shop for sending this wonderful piece over for review. Alright everybody, so that's my official review of Icon Heroes Batman Rebirth statue. As always, I thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next AGR's Pop Culture Reviews.